time is it? Shut the duck up time! Yeah! Yes, who of you now have ducks in your head saying, oh, right, she told me to say that, and I didn't say that. So let me do it one more time so everyone doesn't have a duck in their head. What time is it, ladies? Shut the duck up! Awesome! So, my shut the duck up. What is a duck? Anyone in the room ever been camping? Right, out by the beautiful pond, you see the family of ducks go by your camper or your tent, and you have a couple of beverages that evening. Maybe, I'm Australian, so I can say I've had a couple of beverages now and again, right? So, and then 5 o'clock in the morning comes, and all over here you go quack, 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 and all of a sudden that beautiful, lovely family of ducks is driving you nuts, incessant squawking, and you rip out of your tent. I'm a tenter. You rip out of your tent and you say, shut the duck up. And then all of a sudden I realized, gosh, that's like the thoughts in my head. That incessant squawking of, I'm not good enough. You're too fat. You're not worthy. You don't deserve success. Who do you think you are? Anyone resonate with me by show of hands? Anyone got those ducks? Yeah, it's crazy, right? Did you know we have 48 conscious thoughts per minute? 70,000 conscious thoughts, not the unconscious ones that work in the background saying heart, pump, eyes, blink, lungs, breathe. Not those, but the conscious thoughts. 70,000 conscious thoughts a day. And now, due to new research and science and technology of MRI scans, Psychology Today reports 70% of those thoughts are negative. That's what we're living with, people. And I just thought this was out of control. So I've been coaching leaders, business owners, and entrepreneurs for a long time now. And what I found as I coached them was what was really holding them back was not a lack of money. It was not a lack of skills. What it was ducks squawking in their head. Right? So, this is what some of those ducks look like, well, for me at least. And can anyone resonate with any one of these? You can't do that. You're not smart enough. You don't deserve success. You're not worthy or valuable, or what I call my big Macy's Day duck. My big Macy's Day parade duck was, you're not good enough. You know that big duck that goes down the parade, right? Not the cute little ones I was handing out today. Not at all. You're too fat. That was a big one for me, because, I'm not Elle Macpherson. I'm round, and that's in shape. Right? Round is a shape. Don't bother trying, you'll just fail and embarrass yourself. Right? Who's had that one? You're not strong enough. You never have what it takes. Quack, 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 quack. So, that's one way a duck shows up, and that's the I'm here duck. But there's another duck that swims in the background that only pops up when you're given a compliment. And it looks like this. Someone says, oh, I love your dress. And in your head, you're going, really? Do you see my ass in this? Like, what? Have you seen my hair today? And I'm only wearing it because it's below the knee. And you know what? I've got cellulite here. So thanks for the compliment. I feel 1,000 times better now. Right? It's that whack, 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 whack. That duck in your head. So you've got the standout duck of you're not good enough. And then you've got the compliment duck that you tell yourself in your head, oh, she's just saying that to be nice. Right? But what is really, really sad, people, is we are living in an epidemic of toxic thoughts. By a raise of hands, has anyone had a toxic thought in their head today? What? What the duck? Research shows that 87 to 95% of mental and physical illnesses are a direct result of toxic thinking. And you know what's really, really cool about that? Is we have control to fix it, right? We're women, we're fixers, right? We have control to fix it. So I want to show you what the impact of toxic thinking has on the neurological brain. We're going to get into the science of what happens in the brain when you actually think a toxic thought. Now, once upon a time, we didn't have a resource manual of how the brain works because we only had cadavers, so of course no brain activity there, right? But the last 15 years, we've got MRIs and CAT scans and all these amazing technological advances to show a brain under toxic, or what I call duck infestation. And it looks like that stressed and depressed brain. Black. That is not a brain that is functioning at optimal levels. That is not a brain that is loving on their family. That is not a brain who's showing up at work and saying, I'm going to crush it today. The optimal brain is all fired up. And if you look really closely, there's green in there. It looks like a green tree. But when we're actually thinking the I'm not good enough, or the, oh my goodness, I can't stand myself anymore, or, you know, does my butt look fat in this? The optimal brain, green, lively, going to crush it day to day, making sure it is duck-free. That's what I'm here to give you the tools to do today. No fluff, just tools. So, once upon a time, we thought the brain stopped growing because we were only working on cadavers. So we thought the brain and the neurons and the technology and all the branches in the brain actually stopped growing. In my head, it probably stopped growing at 27 because that's who I am in my head. On the outside, I look, whoa, what happened? Right? Shut the duck up. But for most women, they thought that at 30, the brain stopped growing. It didn't have any more capacity to grow. All the neuron branches were already growing. And I hate to say it, guys who are in the audience, it was a little less for them. Makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, the brain continually now reorganizes itself, which is a beautiful thing because it can change for the better. And it is through these neural connections that we can become, or sadly have become, exactly what we think. We have become the person we think we are. So what if we had the tools to change that? The science, if you want to do some Googling, the science behind how the brain grows and how we can rewire ourselves for more happiness, for more success, is called neuroplasticity. And the beautiful thing about it is, if I could give each and every one of you a new business card, because you are in control of this and you can be neuroplasticians. What? Right? Oh my gosh. So, just to show you what it looks like from, a fifth grader perspective, and that's, really in my brain, sometimes I'm there, is your brain is fueled by toxic thinking. And what happens is the duck comes forward. You can either acknowledge the duck or say, oh, I don't want to deal with it, and it runs back into the subconscious and gets stronger. And those horrible branches that are fueled on toxic thinking gets blacker, and we actually saw that in the neuron scans. It went black. However, I would prefer a green tree, leafy, duck-free, maybe a few birds in there, but no ducks, right? Your brain fueled on positive thinking. So if you were to look at the brain, the toxic thought is actually black. It creates a black neuron in your brain. And the more you fuel it, the stronger it gets. The green thoughts are the healthy ones. Like, I'm going to get up on this date and crush it today. Right? That's a healthy thought. Versus, oh, there's stairs. I don't know, these heels. Right? We might be falling over. So, let me tell you a story about my ducks. My ducks, when Shut the Duck Up came about when my mother died. I wasn't very close to my mother. My mother was very, very different to me. And one of the reasons why I moved from Australia to Canada was my relationship with my mother. So what happened was, my mom died, and I didn't make it to her bedside, and I was really sad about that. I made it 2 days too late, because, you know, it's a 24-hour trip, right? And I started thinking on the plane trip over, I wonder if she had any regrets. On her deathbed, I wonder, was there anything she missed out on doing because she told herself she couldn't? Because she told herself she wasn't good enough. Oh, I can't do that. I know my mother's favorite duck, because I heard it over and over, was I can't be bothered. That was a big duck for her, because she didn't think she was capable, so she couldn't be bothered. So what happened was, I put on that plane trip, because it's a long one, you have a long time to think, right? You actually say, I said to myself, what if that was me on my deathbed? What regrets would I have? What thoughts are holding me back to do the things I really, really wanted to do? So I made a list. On that plane ride home to my mother's funeral, I made a list of things that I've always wanted to do but told myself I couldn't. And one of those things was singing, believe it or not. My singing story is when I was in the South, grade 11, grade 12, I did 2 years of vocal coaching. I sang operatic songs, I sang folk songs, I sang pop songs, and I won competitions. That was amazing, except one time, when I was in grade 12 and my instructor told me to sing a pop song and not a folk song. Now, on the day of what we call in Australia an Eisteddfod, which is where you go singing competitions, provincial level, on that day, they gave me the trophy. I won a check. It was like, yes, right? Not only that, the girl who came in second place was my frenemy. Yes, yes, right? Unfortunately, I sang a pop song in a folk category. And the next day I got a phone call and said, oh, we're so sorry, but you've been disqualified. You have to take the trophy and the check and give it to the girl. Right? You know what? Duck, duck, duck. And sadly, that duck did so much damage, I did not sing for 30 years. Because that duck told me I could not sing. I didn't sing in the shower. I didn't sing to my kids. I didn't sing in church. I didn't sing, period, until my mom died, and I made that list. And the first thing on the top of the list was, I want to sing again. So I called my friend who's a vocal coach, and I said, oh, hey, I just want to see if you want to take a new student. And by the way, I'm really coming to the first lesson so you can tell me that I suck. Really, that's all I want. I want verification that the duck is right. But believe it or not, I went to my first lesson. She said, what are you doing not singing? What are you doing? All the classical training came back. I learned how to open up my vocal cords. I learned how to do the diaphragm thing, breathing, and it all came back. And now there's nothing better than shutting the damn duck up and singing my lungs out, although my children don't really like it so much, but you know what I mean. You know what? It is, question the duck. When you're having those thoughts, question it. Is it true? Find evidence to see if it's true or if it's not true. When we're talking about shut the duck up, we're not talking about unicorns and rainbows and Skittles and all that kind of fun stuff. We're talking about what is the truth. There were many ducks in my head when I put up this slide with me in a bathing suit in front of 500 women. I tell you. But I spent 3 years telling myself as much as I wanted to learn how to paddleboard, it was so amazing. I really wanted to learn, but I was too fat. If I sat on the board, it would sink. That's what the duck was telling me. Quack, quack. The duck was telling me if I got on the board, I might break it. So I probably shouldn't borrow a friend's one to try. Right? That wouldn't be good. So after all of this, and every summer I would say to my husband, you know what? This is the year. And actually last year, that was the year. I got on a paddleboard and I didn't sink it. Right? I gotta say, I was crying as I was going across the lake, and I'm a Christian, and I actually would say, oh my gosh, this is what Jesus felt like walking on the water, right? It was like, oh wow, this is awesome, right? Life begins the moment you take control of the duck, and you're able to learn how to shut the duck up. So, step 1, right? Hunt down your ducks. Now, when you're I often say to my clients, and some of you are in the room, it is time to go on a hunting trip. No camo required, but it might be a little painful. And it's not easy. It's scary sometimes to identify those ducks. And it can be a bit of a Kleenex-infused appointment. That's what I'm saying. But spend time to identify and capture every negative thought. And then write it down. Write down specifically what the duck says to you. Ask yourself, is the duck telling the truth? Now, there's a difference between the truth and rainbows and unicorns. If my duck does not say, Michelle, you're overweight. Because, that's the truth. For my height, my BMI, my height and my weight, they don't match the way they're supposed to, right? But my duck says you're too fat to do this. You're too fat to do mud run with your family. You should just sit on the side and let them go. Oh, hell no, not this year. Can you find evidence to prove it wrong? So what is the truth? And what happens? This is the big thing. What happens is in your brain, a duck fires. One of these fires up in your brain. And your behavior changes if you believe it or not. If you choose to believe it, you go into what's called self-defeating games. Blame, anger, picking a fight, checking out, saying whatever, and quitting. So what happens when you believe the duck to be true? If you acknowledge this, what happens? It swims up to your conscious, swims back to your subconscious, and starts affecting your behaviors. Blame is a big one. You blame everybody else for your problems because it's the duck. But if you believe that all ducks, if you drew a line in the sand and said today, just like you draw a line in the sand if you ever quit smoking, or if you've given up cheesecake, or, right, what? What is that? But if you've ever made a decision to quit a habit, this is just a habit. And the beautiful thing is that habits can be changed. It just takes a little work. And sometimes you need the help of a coach or a mentor to walk alongside you to make that happen. Someone to hold your hand. Because sometimes those ducks are pretty like Macy's Day Parade, scary freaking ducks. Right? Sometimes you need someone to hold your hand. So let me tell you Sally's story before my time runs out. Sally's one of my clients. She was sexually abused by her father from the age of 4 to 14. She is dyslexic. She was bullied her entire life because she wasn't the prettiest girl in school. Sally came to me with a truckload of ducks. And she was telling herself she ran a business. She's in the financial services industry. She was not smart enough to run her business. She was not good at math. She couldn't spell because she was dyslexic. So she wasn't able to serve. Her husband did not support her in her business endeavors. So in my coaching with her, the beautiful thing is we identified what her truths were. And she brought this into me after our coaching session one day, and I was the one who cried. But these are her duck truths. So you're changing the lies into truths, and her behavior has changed. Her revenue has increased exponentially because it wasn't her skill set that was holding her back. It wasn't money that was holding her back. It was her ducks. I'm smart enough to run this business all the way down to I believe I can do this business and will do a good job for my clients. Now, who doesn't want a little bit more of self-belief in their life? And this was done in about 8 hours of coaching. I am already successful. My husband does support me. She was going to walk out on him because apparently he didn't support her. But we were able to identify the truth in how he did support her. So she stayed. And now they're a wonderful couple. So what does this look like? Just like you take your bicep to the gym, you need to take your brain to the gym to break this habit. And you do this process one day at a time for at least 21 to 30 days. And what it's called is cognitive behavioral reframing. Reframing. It's not affirmations of, oh, I look like Elmer Furston today, right? It is the I am doing this. I'm going to get out there and crush it today. It is I am successful. I am good at math. My husband supports me. I can serve my clients and serve them well. It takes but one positive thought when given a chance to survive and thrive to overpower an army of negative thoughts. In working with some of my clients, I found that if we take out one duck, we can actually take out an entire flock at one time. It's brilliant. So, as I wrap up, here is an old Cherokee saying that has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. An old man told his grandson, "My son, there is a battle between you, two wolves inside of all of us. One is evil and one is good." So the son thought about it and said, which one wins? The one you feed. So I'm going to ask you, are you going to feed your ducks? Or are you going to draw a line in the sand and say, shut the duck up? Last one. This is 2,000 plus years old by a friend of mine named Paul in a letter to the Philippians. Right? A friend of mine named Paul. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true. Not unicorns and rainbows, that's BS. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So I challenge you, whether it's with me or another coach or somebody else or a friend or a family member, I challenge you that now is the time. And ladies, what time is it? Time to shut the duck up. Thank you so much.